Everything was smooth, at least on the surface, when 50 Cent first teamed up with the Black Mafia family for a TV series that had the entire hip-hop world buzzing. But now, all of that goodwill seems to have disintegrated into one of the wildest public feuds we've seen in years. Shots have been fired on social media, leaked documents have surfaced, and even family members are getting pulled into the crossfire. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. How did we get here? And why is this situation spiraling out of control so fast? Today, we're diving deep into the unraveling relationship between 50 Cent and the BMF family, particularly Big Meech, Lil Meech, and even Big Meech's nephew. Allegations of snitching, questionable alliances, and explosive confrontations have all come to light, and it's left everyone wondering one thing. Is the BMF legacy about to take a hit from which it can't recover? Stay locked in, because we're about to break down every shocking claim, every messy feud, and every piece of evidence that's been splashed all over social media. By the end, you'll understand why this situation has the streets talking, the internet going wild, and longtime fans questioning everything. The bond between 50 Cent and Big Meech wasn't always painted in controversy. For a while, there was genuine excitement about bringing BMF's story to the screen, complete with cinematic storytelling and star power. Big Meech's son, Lil Meech, even landed the role of playing his father, adding an authentic angle that you rarely see in TV or film. But not long after the show kicked off, rumors started circulating that something wasn't quite right behind the scenes. Whispers emerged suggesting that 50 Cent felt disrespected or shortchanged in some way. Then all it took was a single online post from 50 to send the gossip into overdrive. The moment 50 Cent called Big Meech a rat. People realized this was more than just industry banter or a stunt to promote the series. Accusations of snitching are serious in hip-hop culture. Once that label is thrown out, it's nearly impossible to ignore, and it can stick for life. Suddenly, fans who admired Big Meech's legendary status began to wonder if there was any substance to these claims, or if it was all part of 50 Cent's typical game of provoke and dominate. When 50 Cent wages war, his main battleground is social media, particularly Instagram. Instead of quietly handling business behind closed doors, he lets the world witness every jab, insult, and cryptic message. It didn't take long for him to start dropping loaded emojis, referencing old rap lyrics, and posting quotes that had people guessing who he was targeting. But the biggest bombshell was yet to come. One day, 50 decided to share what he claimed were official legal documents, alluding to Big Meech's alleged cooperation with the feds. Whether these documents were authentic or taken out of context hardly mattered at first, because the internet lit up with speculation. In a matter of hours, countless rumors, half-truths, and bold accusations dominated comment sections everywhere. Suddenly, even fans who'd stayed neutral felt compelled to pick a side. Some believed 50 was just being the king of pettiness, fishing for clicks and controversy. Others took the documents at face value, insisting that Big Meech wasn't the icon they'd once believed him to be. For better or worse, 50 had done what he does best. He'd ignited a media storm that would not die down quietly. One of the most surprising turns in this saga was how quickly Lil Meech got pulled into the mix. As Big Meech's son and the star portraying him on TV, you'd think his relationship with 50 Cent would be rock solid. After all, they're partners on a series that has garnered a dedicated following. But 50 launched a barrage of allegations at Lil Meech, claiming that he was struggling with certain issues on set and needed to enter rehab. Whether there was truth to this or not, it immediately put Lil Meech in a tough spot. But it wasn't just Lil Meech feeling the heat. Another name popped up, Detroit rapper 42 Dugg. He'd reportedly dropped a considerable amount of money on Big Meech upon his release from prison. In 50's eyes, that cash should have gone somewhere else, maybe to support friends or family from Dugg's hometown, rather than into Big Meech's pockets. The moment 50 Cent called him out, 42 Dugg clapped back, insisting that he had every right to support Big Meech. That's when the narrative got messier. Bloggers ran wild with stories fueling the idea that 42 Dugg's loyalty was misplaced or that he was duped. In response, Dugg emphatically denied sending that kind of money, calling such claims nothing more than fake news. But 50 refused to let up, dropping receipts in the form of text messages and cryptic comments that implied even more betrayals were happening behind the scenes. Perhaps the most central figure in this entire feud, besides 50 and the Meech family, is a woman named Tammy Cowens. If you've never heard of her, you're not alone. But once you know her alleged role, you'll understand why people are pointing fingers at Big Meech for sticking by her. Rumor has it that Tammy Cowens became a key asset for federal investigators. The story goes that she took the trust people had in her and channeled it directly to help the authorities. And here's where it gets extra controversial. People say Big Meech introduced Tammy to some of his closest associates, which eventually led to the downfall of major players in the BMF network. One of those associates was reportedly Dion Cuffey, who ended up behind bars for 27 years. If Tammy really played both sides, mingling with the BMF circle while allegedly feeding intel to the feds, it raises serious questions about why Big Meech never publicly distanced himself from her. In the eyes of critics, that's suspicious enough to suspect a form of cooperation, but according to Meech, the whole story is more complicated than people realize, and he has no obligation to explain himself to anyone. Still, the existence of these rumors alone is enough to undermine the revered status Big Meech once held. And with 50 Cent stoking the flames, the story around Tammy continues to spread like wildfire, fueling the perception that something is not adding up in the BMF camp. Right when you thought things couldn't get any wilder, an audio leak slammed the internet. On that three-way call, Big Meech, 42 Doug, and a figure named BB got into a tense back and forth over Tammy Cowens. BB demanded answers about why Meech was still tight with Tammy after everything that had gone down. If she was truly instrumental in bringing BMF associates down, wouldn't cutting ties be the logical move? Meech didn't mince words. He insisted he doesn't owe BB or anybody else an explanation for his choices. He even challenged anyone labeling him a snitch to bring the paperwork. Of course, 50 Cent claims he's already got a stack of it, which just adds another layer of mystery. As the call escalated, Meech abruptly hung up, which only amplified the questions swirling around this entire situation. Was he trying to avoid a public confrontation, or was he simply done indulging what he considered baseless accusations? Either way, hanging up left a vacuum that was immediately filled by more speculation. Things escalated further when BB gave a fiery 30-minute interview detailing how Meech allegedly brokered connections between Tammy and multiple BMF affiliates. The insinuation? Meech might have been playing a high-stakes game with federal authorities to reduce his own sentence, even if it came at the expense of his associates. In BB's view, that's why Meech never publicly denounced Tammy, because their arrangement ran deeper than anyone knew. By now, everyone from casual fans to industry veterans realized this feud was on a trajectory that wouldn't be resolved with a simple phone call or social media post. 50 Cent thrives on drama, especially when he feels he's been wronged. The next step in his playbook, teasing a tell-all documentary about the BMF empire featuring none other than Tammy Cowens herself. If that documentary ever sees the light of day, it could blow the lid off every angle of this scandal, from the earliest days of BMF to the alleged deals that landed multiple members behind bars. People who've followed 50 Cent's career know he's relentless once he gets going, and producing a documentary that exposes Big Meech would be right in line with his brand of payback. Lil Meech, meanwhile, finds himself in a uniquely precarious position. He not only has to protect his father's legacy, but also ensure his own career stays on track. With 50 strongly hinting that he could remove Lil Meech from the BMF series, the stakes are unimaginably high. One wrong move, one misplaced statement, and Lil Meech could find himself out of a job, and Big Meech's name further dragged through the mud. This isn't just about 50 Cent and the Meech family anymore. Some of BMF's original members are now in the spotlight, either distancing themselves from the turmoil or trying to set the record straight. For the old guard, Big Meech was more than a criminal figure. He was a leader who commanded loyalty. But the question of whether he knowingly allowed a federal informant in his circle is shaking that foundation. Meanwhile, 50 Cent continues to hint that he's got piles of additional evidence, court documents, interviews, old wiretaps, ready to be unleashed at the perfect moment. By all appearances, he's in no rush. He knows how to string along an audience, waiting for that pivotal moment to drop the next bombshell. For 50, feuds are a game of endurance, and he always aims to be the last man standing. As for Big Meech and his family, they're caught in a tough bind: respond publicly and risk adding fuel to the fire, or stay silent and let 50 Cent dominate the narrative. Neither option seems ideal. Worse yet, the snitching accusations and rumors of secret deals could tarnish BMF's storied history forever. In a world where respect is currency, a tarnished reputation can be crippling. So here we are at the brink of one of the most explosive feuds in modern hip-hop and street culture. 50 Cent's relentless pursuit of the truth, or perhaps his relentless pursuit of vengeance, has left Big Meech, Lil Meech, and the BMF family in a precarious spot. Allegations of third-party cooperation, endless social media jabs, and leaked audio have all piled up to create a narrative so tangled that it feels almost impossible to unravel. Was Big Meech truly involved in a scheme to lighten his sentence at the expense of his associates? Does he owe anyone, especially the streets, a detailed explanation? Or is 50 Cent simply flexing his notorious knack for theatrics, using partial truths to manufacture a storyline that keeps everyone talking? We may not have clear-cut answers anytime soon. What we do know is that 50 Cent loves to play chess, not checkers, and he's rarely satisfied with a quick resolution. This might just be the beginning of a deeper, more chaotic phase of revelations, potentially culminating in that rumored documentary. Meanwhile, Lil Meech and others close to the situation are bracing themselves for what could be a permanent. Staying on the BMF brand, let's bring it back to you. Is Big Meech obligated to address every rumor and document floating around? Is 50 Cent out for genuine justice, or is he just feeding the internet's appetite for drama? And in the long run, does this hurt BMF's legacy beyond repair, or is the brand resilient enough to weather the storm? Sound off in the comments with your take on this chaos. As always, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you want to stay locked in on every new development. With these personalities involved, we can almost guarantee more bombshells are on the way. Keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground. This story is far from over.